fans, and welcome to a special episode of French Fried Trains. It's a little late, but we've recently passed 300 subscribers, and I want to thank everyone who supports this channel. So, we're going to be doing a second update to my Minecraft city, just like we did for my 200 subscriber special. And if you want to see my first Minecraft city update, I'll have that video linked in the description. Now, this city and I have had a rough couple months. In early September, after a Minecraft update, it crashed while I was playing and then was unable to open after that. And I did have backup copies of this city, but every time I went in them, I'd start building them, and then those would crash as well, and I wouldn't be able to get into those. And now suddenly, after the update last week, I can get back in the city here. And as you can see, it's still a bit laggy. And after having about 2 months worth of backup copies crash, I've actually moved on and started a different project from this city, this time Star Trek related. But now that we're in it, we can finally do this video. So last time, we ended off right there by this car wash. So some of the new features here, we have this little lake and this parking lot over here. And this is where I built this big castle. Now those of you who've watched my first city update know this city is loosely based on the city that I grew up in, with fantasy elements thrown in. This castle is one of the fantasy elements. It's actually based on a castle here in Ohio, only slightly bigger with my own take on it. We have some gardens to walk through on the side over here, and we'll just go around so you can see what the whole castle looks like on the outside. And as we come up and over, you can see there's a big fountain out front. And we'll come back over here. This is the little ticket booth where you would buy your ticket to tour the castle, because the real life one this is built on, you can actually tour. So this is what the courtyard looks like when you're actually standing in it, and you can kind of get a sense of the castle size. So we'll come on in through the main entrance here. And this is the main room. Over here you have like the gift shop. There's some knight armor standing here. We have a big old table with an old chandelier up there and a fireplace. Over here, we have a couple of big dragon statues here. And then this is the front entrance. Before we tour anything else, we'll go downstairs. And I made this when the candles first came out, so this entire castle is lit only by candles. Come all the way downstairs here. We just have some crystals, some storage shelves. Over here there's some storage rooms. And another one right here. Back here is the dungeon where you would keep the prisoners. And the world's still lagged, the pressure plates are not working correctly. But this is the prisoner cell. Just a little bit in here. If we come back out, this is where the prison guard would be. And we'll go back up the stairs here. Now that we're on the main floor, over here we have a kitchen. With a table, there's a fridge, a stove down there. Because this castle that it's based on was actually built in modern times, and the man who built it lived there. Over here, we have like a public throne room type deal here. And some of what's in here is fantasy and some of it's real. Over here, there's a bedroom. Like I said, I built this oversized. So everything in this was really much smaller in real life. Then we can come back around over here. We just have a bench and some storage down here. This door leads outside but still enclosed within the castle walls here. And this is the garden where they would grow all their food. And if we come all the way down here, there's also an exit where they would take like horses in and out. So that's the outside part. Now we're going back kind of inside. This is like a blacksmith shop over here. And some hay for the horses down here. And down in this end we have a fountain. And up here we have some bleachers. I imagine that they did like plays and stuff here. And we'll move on. So we'll come back indoors here, and we'll move up to the second floor. So we come up these stairs, and now we're on the second floor. Over here we have the castle's toilets, and we'll come over through this to lead us to the main part of the second floor. Those stairs go up to the roof. We'll see those later. Here we have another storage room. We have another main table sitting area up here. In here we have a bathroom with a fireplace and its own sitting area. Then we'll come up here. In here is the castle's library. So just some places to sit and a lot of books. And there's a little balcony out here that overlooks everything. And it's completely enclosed here. This door is like the barracks for where all the soldiers would sleep. So there's just a bunch of beds in here. And then over here is like the king's main room. So he's got a bed up here. We have a crystal, a table with a bunch of maps where they plan everything. And this room also has an outdoor balcony here. So that was the king's main room here, and we'll move on. Like I said, those stairs lead upstairs, but we'll do that later, because there's more on this floor. So if we come back here, we can go into the other section of the castle on this floor. And this is kind of like a Hall of Armors type deal here. So we have a bunch of armor suits encased in glass here. And there's a bunch of dragon head statues on the other side just for filler. And down here is a more ornate throne room. So we have an even bigger throne up here that overlooks everything. And a fancy carpet in front of it with some crystals. And this room has all these windows so you get a really nice view of everything. And that's everything on the second floor. So now we'll go up to the roof. So we'll come back through here and through here. Oh, that's the storage room. These are the ones we want. We'll finally go up these stairs up onto the roof. So now we're outside on the roof, and all of these little towers have stairs to get up on top of them for the guards. There's not much up here on this one. There you can see the forest behind the castle. This biggest tower here has the flag up on it. So we'll go up these stairs. We have a bell up here and a big flag. And this overlooks that front parking lot. And we'll come down off this tower and we'll go to this other one, because this one actually allows us to access the top of the other section of the castle. So we come across here through this little gap and down here, and we can come down to this end of the castle. And on top of this side, we have a little bit of flowers here with some pennants up there. So that's it for the top of the castle here. And we'll move down over here, because we do have this little guard tower. This was my own little thing. It's not really there. I just did it to fill space. So inside of here, there's really nothing. It's just stairs to get up. And we come all the way around and up. And there's another little guard tower up here overlooking everything. Then we'll come over here. We have some water drainage here, and there's this little stream. And we'll follow that back. There's a little area overlooking the stream right there. And there's the walking gardens. And if we follow this stream all the way back through the forest, we'll come down to a river. And as we get where it meets the river here, there's a slight little waterfall. And that's the edge of the world as far as I've built. And that's not loading in, but that river goes down as far as the eye can see, all along the back of my world, to the Power Ranger Command Center seen in my last update. But we'll move on to more interesting things here. And this world's still glitchy. It's having some major trouble loading stuff in here, so we'll skip ahead. We've come past the parking lot of the castle. Here's the gas station from my last update. And where we finished off on the last update. This car wash. We've actually built out the rest of the city on this block this way. So now we're back to the more real part of the city here. And this is just a little bank. You can see there's a back parking lot for employees. It's not that big. Down over here on this side is the drive-thru with the pneumatic tube to send your money into the bank. And we'll take a quick peek in here. There's not too much inside of here. We have a main lobby, a section where the line would form. Here's where the tellers are. If we come back here, this is the vault, but the world's still lagging and the button wasn't opening this door. Well, now it did. So we'll look in there. All those blast furnace represent the safety deposit boxes. And here's where the tellers are for the drive-thru. Over there, there's just some bathrooms and an office. So we'll move on from the bank. Then over here, across this street, we have a small business center here. Shopping type deal. Over here is something very old from my childhood. We have a Blockbuster video here. Whenever I can, I try to use banners to label the businesses. This is the little drop-off box where you would return the movies you rented. And that's not working either. Like I said, this world is still glitchy. But we come inside here. All these yellow and blue banners represent all the movies on the shelves because they printed their own covers for the movies that you rented. And it's pretty decent size in here, but it's just like all movies. If we come back down here, you can see some candy machines, another vending machine. Through here is the employee area. There's a bathroom here. And then there's just a back room with a manager office and some storage. These doors go out the back, which is kind of unfinished here. So that's the Blockbuster video. and we'll move on to the other businesses in this center. So we'll come around the front here. Crammed in between them and this little building, this is like a beauty salon. So we come in here, we have a little desk with a cash register. Here's where the girls would get their hair done. There's a hair washing station over here. And that's pretty much it for this business. There's not much in here. So we'll come back outside. Next to this here, there's a convenience store. And out front here you can see we have an ice machine. And we'll go inside this one. So like I said, this is just a convenience store. And I've used random banners with different colors to represent all the products on the shelf. There's a pop machine over here. We have some coolers. Some more stuff on shelves over here. And up over here is where the cashiers would stand. That orange stair's the lotto machine. There's 2 cash registers here. Not much to this one, so we'll move on. Then there's a little alley between the buildings here. You can see there's actually detailing on top of the buildings. And over here, we have a Subway. So we'll come in here. And this is the inside of the Subway. So you can see we have just lots of booths over here. We have a pop machine. Here's the area where they make your sandwich. There's the cash register. And you can see the menu up on back there. And their little Subway cookies right next to the register like they are in real life here. If we come around back here, this leads to the employee section. There's a sink, a little desk. Here's a walk-in cooler here. And there's a walk-in freezer through that door. If we come out here, here's their bread warmer, a coffee pot, and some other things. The menu up there. Here's where they make the sandwiches. And we'll move on. So we'll come back out here. Down here there's a back door. And then some public bathrooms. And since this is based on a real place, I use Google Maps to try and figure out the interior. And we'll come back up through this alleyway between the buildings here. And there's one more business in this building. We have a Metro PCS phone store here. So it's pretty open. This is supposed to be the displays with all the phones. This shelf over there is the accessories, and here's where the employees set up your phones. There's not much back there. There's just an office and a bathroom, so we'll move on. Now across the street here, there's supposed to be another store, but this is where I put my other fantasy element. Here, we have the Ghostbusters Firehouse headquarters. Now, I've built this firehouse before, but this is probably the most detailed version I've ever done. That's supposed to be the Ghostbuster sign hanging on the front. And we'll just go have a look at the outside real quick before we go indoors. Now this side is all windows, and here's the back. And this is always tricky to do because in real life, the outside of the firehouse is in New York, but the interior was filmed at a firehouse in Los Angeles, so everything doesn't line up exact. This is something I haven't seen on Minecraft Ghostbuster Firehouses. I have a Funko Pop that came with the firehouse, and there's this piece that sticks out on this side. Most of the ones I've seen on YouTube just has all windows on this side. So that makes this one a bit more accurate in my opinion. So we'll come inside now, and there's a lot crammed in here. Right here, we have Ecto 1. There's the front of it. And it's a pretty big car. There's the sirens on top. Here's the side view of the car with the red fins on the back. There's only so much detail you can put before it's too big and out of scale. Here's all the roof equipment. So that's the Ecto 1 car. We have a bunch of tools and stuff over here. Up here, there's a little bathroom. And we'll come over to the other side. Here's the roof detail. All those lightning rods are supposed to be the fire poles. There's another storage closet up over here. There's some more of the roof detailing. Over here are the old storage lockers where they keep their proton packs. And there's a black and red banner in there to represent the proton packs. If we come back here, here's Janine's desk where she takes calls. And there's the red button for the alarm. There's the alarm system up there. Back here is Peter Venkman's office, which was used by Bill Murray in the movie. And then we'll come back out of here. And there's this weird U-shaped storage area divided off behind here. So I just put some random stuff. Now we'll go downstairs here in the basement. And you can see here's all the power and circuit breakers here for this big ecto-containment system where they keep the ghosts. And this is where they would put the ghost trap in. This lever's supposed to open this, but like I said, nothing's working because this world is so lagged. That's what it looks like opened. There's not much else in this basement. I added a little storage room. And over here, a utility room with a boiler for heat. So we'll move back upstairs now. And we've already seen everything on this main floor. So we're gonna go upstairs to the second floor now. And up here, we have the Ghostbusters lab over here. So there's all kinds of shelving and equipment. There's a TV, a computer. This right here is supposed to be a ghost trap they're working on. They have this sitting area with this big bank of computers seen in the movie. Over here, there's a pool table. And there's one of the fire poles. Back there's some arcade machines which were in the movie. Over here is their kitchen. And here we have Slimer floating in the air. Made out of actual slime, of course. They have a fridge up here. There's an old little stove for heat. And if you come through this door, this is like the main bedroom. There's a washer and dryer over there. There's one of the fire poles right in the bedroom. There's some lockers, some more beds. And if we come through here, this is the bathroom. So there's a couple of bathrooms in here. And some showers. Because in real life, this used to be an active fire station where people lived. So that's all of this second floor here. And this top floor that we're going to go to really wasn't shown in the movies, so I kind of had to extrapolate from my own imagination. So we'll come up to the third floor. We have the main kitchen here, which is pretty big. There's a fridge and microwave, a table, there's a sink down there, lots of cupboards, a stove. And we'll come out here. There's some more computers and stuff up here. More fire poles. There's some more beds in that corner. This is just a storage closet. And here's like a living room area. Up here, there's a bathroom on top. This front section up here with the big windows in real life was originally the fire chief's bedroom. So that's pretty much it on this third floor. And there is roof access, but once I framed everything in, I had to come up with a really convoluted section of stairs to get up there. So you come down this hallway, up these twisting stairs here, across here, and then we open this, and the trapdoors above it. And we're up on the roof. There's a satellite dish and some antennas and a bunch of HVAC stuff up here. Not too much. So that's pretty much it for the roof. We come back down. We'll close all these. And we'll head back down the stairs. So back down these twisting stairs. Down this hallway. And back onto the third floor proper here. Then to get down, we can just use these fire poles and fall down to the bottom like we slid down the pole. And we'll go back out, and that's pretty much it for my Ghostbuster Firehouse. And now we're going to move on to the real section of the city and stuff that was really there. So next to it here, this is supposed to be a Pennzoil 10-minute oil change thing here. Just a small little building. You can see we have doors on the front. You would drive all the way around this back to go in and get your oil changed. We come down in here. This is where you would pull your car. That's the little hole to the pit where they would work on your car. We come in here. There's a little sitting area. There's a bathroom. And these stairs go down to the pit. So now we're underneath the main garage area. And there's the hole where they would change your oil filter. Not much to this one. It's a small little building. So we'll move on to the next thing. Next to it here, there's a really old building that's not there in the real life city anymore that had many different businesses over the years. So it's made of this really old brown brick, and they retrofitted this aluminum pole barn on the back. As I've built it, this is a pool table and hot tub store. Weird combination, but it's really what was there. Here's where clients can meet with the employees. And we have a bunch of different pool table designs here on their showroom floor. Back here we have a hot tub. And you can see the bubbles. It's actually working. And then back into this pole barn section, they have even more hot tubs back here. So this is one that's working. There's one with the lid on. Another pool table here. Here's a pallet, some storage. There's a big garage door. And there's a forklift over here for lifting the things. So here's my little forklift design. And that's it for the main floor of this store. I figured since this is an old store, it probably had a basement. So I've added that. Here's a little employee section. And downstairs, we have a creepy old basement. There's just a furnace down here. I put a lot of cobwebs up in there to make it seem like it was old. And we'll move on to the next thing in the city. So we'll come back out and get outside of here. Next door is another thing that's not there anymore. This was a house that had a business attached to it. And this was the barber shop. And this is actually where I got my hair cut when I was a kid. So this side piece is the actual barber shop here. So we'll come in here. And you can see there's a candy machine. That's where you'd get your hair cut. There's a sitting area. A little cash register, a TV up here. If we come back here, here's a customer bathroom. And since this is attached to the house, if we go in here, this goes into the owner's actual house. Here's the kitchen. There's a bathroom for here. You come through the kitchen here into the main part of the house. Over here, there's like this side porch. Right here is just a utility room. Here's the little bedroom. Here's the dining room. And over there is the living room and the front door. Then there's a second floor to this house. There's a main hallway. Through here, we have a storage room, a bedroom, down here's a closet, and over here is a little office room. Obviously, I didn't know what was actually in this house, so I just made it up. So we'll get out of this house now and move on to the next thing. So that's the outside of the barber shop again. We come down here, this is where they had their sign. And then next door is a retail store, and this is a Goodwill store here. And this Goodwill store has kind of a unique shape to the outside of it, so we'll go all around the outside first. On the side here where them chests and stuff are is where you drop off your donations. They also have a big garage door back here to their actual storehouse. And there's some trees behind it here. You can see the air conditioning units back there. And now we'll come back up front and go inside the actual store here. So we'll come on down through these main doors. Here, all these armor stands are supposed to be all the clothing for sale and all the shelves full of stuff. There's the cash registers where you check out. Over here there's some shopping carts and just a whole bunch of stuff on shelves here. More clothes over here. More stuff on shelves. The shopping cart corral up here. This section is where they keep all the old furniture they're selling, and it comes down to the end of the store. If we come back here, this is their storehouse. So we have a bunch of stuff on shelves. There's the back of the garage door. And here's where you would donate stuff at. So that's the Goodwill, and we'll move on to the next thing. Now over here, there's this strip mall, and this thing is the bane of my existence. This is what I was working on when the world crashed and became inaccessible. Then I would go to an older backup copy, build this thing again, and it would crash again, and then that copy would become inaccessible. It probably happened 5 or 6 times. I've probably built this 6 or 7 times before I finally gave up on the city, until 2 months later when now I can access it. So at this end of the shopping center, we have a dry cleaning service. There's the cash registers. There's a sitting area over here. And some public bathrooms. Then we'll come back in the employee area. These are supposed to be the automated racks where they hang all of the clothes they've cleaned. Over here's the actual dry cleaning machine. And in here we have a little office with a computer desk. So that's the dry cleaners. And then owned by the same people and connected to it here is the laundromat. And these are supposed to be all the washers and dryers for the laundromat. Here's the little machine where you trade in your money to get coins to operate the machines. And there's a bunch of chairs while you sit and wait for your laundry to be done. And all of these businesses in this have a back door to this back parking lot as well. And you can see all these details along the back, like their heating and cooling systems here, and all the power meters on the back. So we'll move on to the next business in the shopping center. We'll just come up and over here. Next to the laundromat here, we have a Dominos Pizza. So we'll come inside the Domino's here. Here's where you pick up your pizza. There's the cash registers. There's some seats out here, not too much out here for the customers. Back here, here's where you get your pop out of. There's the cash registers. This is the pizza oven. And you can see there's actual slight glow inside of it. There's some fryers over here, some shelving. Here's where they assemble the pizzas. Here's a walk-in cooler. There's a sink back here, some storage shelves, an employee bathroom, more storage. Here's a pizza warmer. And this has back doors as well. Not much to most of these little things in here. We'll move on. Next, we have a nail salon here. There's a sitting area, a little cash register desk, and here's where you would get your nails painted and done. Back here, they just have some storage and a bathroom. This one is pretty small business. Then we'll move on to the next thing. Next, we have a tobacco shop here. So we'll come inside of here. Along the right, we have the employee counter with the register, and just a whole bunch of stuff on shelves here. And in the back here, they have a climate-controlled cigar room. So that's pretty much it for this business, and we'll move on. Next door to this, we have a Big Apple Bagels restaurant. So we'll come in here. All kinds of seating in here with lowered roof lighting. Over here, there's a sitting area with a fireplace. Down this hallway is the public bathrooms. Not much to them. There's another sitting area back here. We come back here, this is where you actually get your food, in a small kitchen back here. I was running out of space. Here's a little walk-in cooler through there. It's pretty tiny. Here's the pop machine and coffee machine, and the menu up top there. So that's pretty much it for this one, and we'll move on to the next. Here we have an optician here, and this is where you go to get your glasses. And all them banners are supposed to be different glasses on the wall. A little machine for checking your eyes. Not much to this one. And this is where the shopping center kind of curves. And that last section is empty. This is where I was when the world crashed. So we'll move on to this next thing. Up over here is one of the main intersections, and this is where I've actually got the power lines strung up to, and the traffic lights hanging here. So this is how I did my traffic lights, just to give them a bit of detail instead of just using a banner. Here we have another little house that was converted into a business here. And this is actually a chiropractor's office. So we can come in through here, and we'll go inside the main area here through this little mudroom. Here's the secretary's desk in the waiting room. And then these rooms are the little rooms where they'd actually do the work with the bed. And there's another one just like it through here. And due to the shape of this house, I also built an upstairs. So we come upstairs. Here's an employee break room with some vending machines and some chairs. There's a little storage closet and another patient room. And that's it for this chiropractor's office here. So we'll come back outside and move on from this. So we'll come back outside here. Then on this corner is a restaurant that's no longer around. It was called Hot and Now. And they were drive-through only, and they served really cheap burgers. So you would enter over here, and they also had a really unique color scheme and shape to their building here. So this is what the front of the building looks like. And they had a covered drive-through area where you'd pick up your food. And then this is what the back of the building looks like. Over here you can see our train that we've been working on. Here's the employee parking lot. You'd come around here, drive up here. There's some dumpsters. Here's the menu and speaker where you'd order your food. And you drive in there to pick up your food at this window. And we'll take a peek inside here. So inside here, there's some storage back here, a little computer desk. This is a walk-in cooler. We have some warmers, a pop machine, more storage up here. Here's where they'd assemble all the food and cook it. Some more warmers and a refrigerator down here. And there's a pop machine and cash register on this side for this walk-up window. But like I said, this restaurant had no interior for customers. So that's pretty much it for this one, and we'll move to the next thing. So as we come back outside here, this little side street also has the power lines finished on it. We'll move over here. And this is supposed to be a Shell gas station and automobile service center. So here's the actual gas station portion with the pumps. And we'll go inside here. So it's just a little convenience store inside here, of course. There's some coolers on that wall and this wall, and a little pop machine. Here's where the clerks would stand behind this desk. And if we come through here, this enters the garage portion of it. You can see we have a car in this front garage. And this actually opens up into a back garage. We have a car on a lift being worked on back here. And just for fun here, I even put a camper in this garage. There's a floor jack over there. And you know I like to build interiors on everything, so this camper actually has an interior as well. There's a little desk, some beds, a table, a tiny kitchen there. Through here is a little bathroom. And some more beds in the back of this camper. So that's it for this Shell station. And I'm realizing now I didn't build any other exit, so we have to go back out through the store. So we'll come back outside here and we'll move on. And I've realized now as I've built this city had a lot of car garages. You can see this street has all of its power lines done as well. And next door we have another automobile place. This one is Monroe Tires. And it was a little bit newer construction, so it has a more modern style. Here's the outside of the building. For whatever reason, it had this one corner cut on a slant like that. And here's the back, where you can drive the cars in from the back, and an employee parking lot backed right up to the train tracks here. So we'll come inside of here. So we'll come back around the front. Here's a little waiting room and an employee desk. Out here, you can see we have a couple of cars up on the lifts here. And to save time, I just copied those. We have some empty garage bays with all kinds of tools, another car over here, and down here we have racks of tires. So that's pretty much it for this one. And next door, we have yet another car place. And you can see the power lines going down there. Here we have a Valvoline instant oil change, and I tried to make their logo on the sign here. And it says instant oil change on the front of the building here. So this one's another small building. I gave them a unique floor here. There's a little waiting room, an employee desk. Through here's a bathroom. And if we go back here, there's a little office and the stairs to get down in the pit. We come down the pit here. This lines up under the garage so they can change your oil. And it's kind of cramped down here. and we'll move upstairs. So we need to come back up these stairs here, and we'll come back out. This goes out the back here to the employee parking lot. And here's an open garage door on the back. And here's where you pull your car through to get your oil changed. Kind of similar to the last building we seen, except it has the pits in the middle, and there's 3 stalls. So that's it for this building. And then as you can see, here's an older part of the city, which does have the power lines. There's the train behind it. And this is the last new part of the city I've built since the last update. If you want to see any of the other stuff in the background, make sure you check out my first update here. It will be linked in the description. And like I said, I was locked out of this world due to glitching for a long time. So I have moved on to a more Star Trek focused project, but after I finish that, I may come back and add on more to this city. If I do, there'll be another update in the future. Thanks for watching. Don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe. And everyone have a great week. Stay safe out there, everyone.